The mind could be your best friend or your worst enemy. You have to learn to harness that shit. It's not what happens to somebody, it's what they do as a result of it.
When most kids my age were just hitting puberty, I was out on my own, a 7th grade dropout running wild. New York was one of the most violent cities in the country, and if you didn't mind your P's and Q's, you were gonna have problems. It was a town of outlaws, and growing up back then taught me some valuable lessons. Lessons that helped me survive in any situation, anywhere in the world.
Wall Street in the 90s felt like the Wild West. It was the place to make more money than you ever dreamed of. Greed was good, and I wanted my share. A young man looking to prove myself and compete with the big boys. But my biggest enemy turned out to be me. When I was in New York, I don't know if I was ready to compete. I think I was still chasing demons of my own. I failed. So I went to London to start over.
He's a banker turned TV impresario. How did you make the transition?
I had enough one day. I just walked out, had no idea what I was going to do, and then I started broadcasting people and ideas that changed the world.
The way to change the world is to let people know how you've changed.
I've been impressed by the power of a conversation. It's had a big effect on me. Up until I was 40, I always felt disconnected. But this show forced me to change. And sometimes I meet someone who takes me on a new journey. Let's do this. This is London Real. I am Brian Rose. My guest today is John Joseph, the musician, author, and triathlete, best known as the lead singer of the hardcore punk band, the Cro-Mags. Growing up on the streets of New York City, you survived abuse, drug addiction, prison, and later a violent stint in the Navy. You credit the Hare Krishna movement for helping you get through your darkest times. At 55 years old, you compete regularly in Ironman triathlons, raising money for charity, and you're here in London on tour with the Cro-Mags. John, welcome to London.
Thank you, man. Thank you, Brian. Pleasure to be here.
You wouldn't know it by looking at me, but when I left school in Boston, I moved to New York City in '93, and I was drawn to the East Village, right? I was working as a banker, but all my boys were living Upper East, Upper West, and I thought it was fucking boring as sin. But tell me, what was that area like back when you were there, 70s, 80s?
They call it Alphabet City because it's Avenue A, Avenue B, Avenue C, Avenue D. If you go to Avenue A, you're adventurous, B, you're bold, Avenue C, you're crazy, Avenue D, you're dead.
Or when did you start knowing that you wanted to be a musician?
I always was attracted to music because no matter what hell we were going through, music was the salvation. The mind could be your best friend or your worst enemy. That's what it says in the Bhagavad Gita. So you use the mind as a tool. You have to learn to harness that shit. I've been dealing with that my whole life. That's my message. I did it, you could do it. You know, if you fight through the shit, you could get through it. Because if I could do it, anybody could do it.
John, look, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you, Brian.
This has been awesome.
Awesome
and
talking.
epic, you know?
Yeah, man.
I'm
glad you had some time down there in the Alphabet City, too.
I know, I've been around there.
Yeah.
So I saw some of what's going on.
Yeah.
And look, I appreciate I was looking forward to talking to you because you're a fascinating dude.
Thank you, brother.
With a lot of philosophy behind what you're doing. Thanks for dropping all these stories and science on us.